Well, inventory is up this week and sales are down. Here we are at the end of the third week of September, and this is Austin Real Estate Update. Let's dive in. Okay, this week and every week we start out with what are the active listings. This week listings went up a couple hundred listings here. We're now at 11,880 in terms of the total number of listings, and that's up from last week and obviously up from same period a year ago, where we were right at just over 10,000 listings. So really don't have that much more inventory than we did this time last year. Another 10% more inventory, well, almost 20% actually. And then let's look at what happened over the weekend. So over last week, we went from new listings of 783. Now we've jumped up to 893, so that's a pretty significant jump in new listings. Yet look at actual pending sales, they've been on the downward slide for a couple of weeks now. We're at 700 pending, so the gap between the number of new listings and the number of properties that are coming off the market as pending has gotten a lot bigger. In fact, it's almost 300 is the difference here. So that's why our inventory grew last week. So what that translates into is our absorption rate, which is how long it would take to sell all this inventory if we didn't have any new listings show up based on the current clip of sales. We went from 16 weeks of inventory to almost 17 weeks of inventory in just 1 week. Not necessarily a good trend if you're a seller right now, so we need to pay attention to what's going on. A little bit of a bounce there, not necessarily expected. And then median price came out this week. I told you last week we'd talk about it. So we were at $450 for the last 2 months, and then now it's dropped down to $439,990 was the median price in August of 2024. That's kind of expected if you look at every year for the last several years here. This was August, so you can see it dropped from July last year, and just not that much, but then you can see that there is seasonality to the market and it kind of comes back in the springs. And these were the bigger waves because this was back in 2022, but really it's following the same pattern. In fact, next week I'll do maybe year over year on top of each other to show you that pattern. And then as far as interest rates are concerned, we're in good shape there. That's the good news, that interest rates have dropped to 6.2%. From the week before it was 6.35, so still on the downward trend on rates. That's fantastic news for home buyers. Translates into, at some point, more sales for home sellers. It doesn't seem like the market's responding right now, and as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, as interest rates fall, it gets buyers to pause as opposed to buyers to act, because they're waiting for some news that they've come down as far as they're going to go down for a period of time. So we just got done with an interest rate improvement last week and from the Fed, and don't know that we expect another one, but it translated into what I think are really, really good rates. So let's see what happens for next week. I anticipate a reasonably good week, but we don't know until we see the numbers. So let's see what happens. Until next time, have a good one. Thanks.